newscast
sort
of scenario.
Welcome to HPSA News at 11. We need like intro music.
Yeah, we're lame. We didn't do an intro for this segment, so sorry.
Hello, Sacramento. I'm Kayla Swanson, and here with me today is
some guy. You said catchphrase. We're going to use, and that's the way the hair curls at the end of the show. So prepare yourself. Today's Ask Me Anything, a bit on the loose side. No, we haven't been drinking, and thanks for hanging out with us. So we're going to go through and do some Ask Us Anything sort of questions. We've moved around the office to kind of mix it up and keep it exciting for you guys. So hopefully there's some cool things. If you guys don't know Kayla helps me out with all of the social media and shenanigans that we do around here. Yeah, and basically anything that's cool, she was responsible for it. All the weird stuff is my fault. But I'm super excited. Hopefully that was okay.
That was good.
All right. Anyway, so we're going to do a whole Ask Me Anything section. If you're on with us live right now, do me a favor and comment live. And then if you're not sure if you're on live or not, just comment anyway, and we'll all get along. It'll be cool. So Kayla's got some questions that you guys have been submitting over the last week or two, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Over the last week or two, and we're going to take on some of those questions. We've kind of picked them out and said, what are the ones that I think are really the most relevant right now, but also we can give the most value to.
Yes.
So if you hear something that's valuable, and later we'll go back and tag you if you were the one who commented, so you can make sure you get answers to your most valuable questions. So anyway, if you can comment, just make sure you can hear us, and we're in good shape. We should be good to go. But hit me. Where do you want to start today?
First question comes from Amanda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
What up, Amanda?
And she asks, how do you pivot to survive a possible recession?
Yeah. So we've been talking about this a lot. In fact, we do a training called Salon CEO that we just did this morning. We were chatting about the R word, the dirty R word. It's not a 4-letter word, but it's still a dirty R word. We've been talking about this whole idea of like what's going to happen in a recession. First and foremost, can I just say, like, you are in probably one of the safest industries that exists during a recession. And as my partner Doug likes to say, like, mama's still going to get her hair done, so like don't stress out. But there will be real complications, like things like people saying like, well, I can't afford that, or don't raise my prices, or like there will be things that happen for sure, and it's going to put a pinch on you, put a strain on you, and it is going to challenge your business a little bit. But one of the guys who was on this morning, really incredible dude, a guy by the name of John McGregor, who wrote a book called Why the Rich Go Broke, and he's only in our exclusive group that we did this training. But he said something really powerful, and I'll share it with you guys today because I thought it was like ridiculously powerful. Is he said 78+% of people live paycheck to paycheck that work for you. So if you think about that, the people who work for you, 78% of them are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning they have zero savings outside of their income, and most of them also have some debt. And he said one of the biggest things, and I heard this stat somewhere else, not from John, but people said that almost everybody believes that $1 an hour raise would solve all of their problems. Interesting. So, and if that's commission stylists, you might think like, well, if I just increase them up by another % or 2 in commission, that they'd make enough money and they'd solve their problems. And John like punched me in the face with something. He said, Jason, if you doubled your staff's income, it wouldn't solve the problem. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, everybody thinks if you double their, like if I just said, Kayla, I'll pay you double whatever you're paying. Of course, Kayla would high-five me and say, hell yes, Jason, let's do that. Not
you heard
for the
it here
record.
First.
That's not what we're doing. But what he said is the problem is like when a lottery winner wins money is they still will use their money the same way they use it now, and they'll still end up living paycheck to paycheck. And even though it might modestly change some of their living expenses, because of their relationship with money, their mindset with money, it'll create the same level of problems they have now, even with double their income. So what we're talking about doing, I'm glad I occasionally can blow your mind. But the idea is that you want to be able to show people how to better use their money, because whether you make $10,000 a year, $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, or $1 million a year, what you do with the money is more important than how much there is. And I know that sounds weird because everybody's like, of course more money would solve my problem. Like most people think that. But yes, that's part of it, but it's your relationship with money that's the problem. It's not how much of it you're making. Because if you do different things with the money that you have, you will have more of what you want. So meaning, and he said, that the mission and purpose and use of your money is more important than how much of it you have. And that's what leads to happier lives and better relationships. So anyway, I'm on a tangent because we had this really cool call. And by the way, I just saw somebody typed in the comment in here. I want to make sure we talk about it. But if you have a question and you want to ask us a question, you can ask it while we're live. And I've got Kayla's questions, but I'll also jump in and get some other questions. Yeah. So super helpful. I will give you guys some answers as we go. And try and get the best information on who asked the question, because sometimes it tells me, sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, recession. Back to that.
Back to recession.
Back to the recession. Sorry, still feel newsy, corny.
Uh-huh.
So all that being said, is that one of the greatest things you're going to have a pinch on in your business, because I don't think you're going to like all your customers are going to dry up and go away, but you are going to see some financial pain and pinch. So first and foremost, I would say if you haven't raised your prices yet to combat inflation, you need to start raising your prices now. If it's been more than a year since you've raised your prices, and in some cases, in even the last 6 months, you need to raise your prices, because that's going to help you weather and stomach kind of what continues to come, and have a plan for how often you're going to raise prices, and pay attention to the businesses around you for when they're raising prices and what they do, because you might want to pay attention to that too. Like if Starbucks raises their prices, you should probably be raising yours. And by the way, just as another tip on raising prices, don't tell your customers, like just Starbucks doesn't call you and go, by the way, your latte is more money. Like they just do it. So make sure you do the same thing. You can gradually raise your prices. Make sure you do it. At the moment, we might be in a place where you might want to look at every 6 months to a year to raise your prices. Be aware of it. That'll help you with recession a little bit.
That's good.
Then the other thing is, going back to that whole everybody's living paycheck to paycheck, is that you need to start getting a financial education in place for your staff, because if your staff doesn't have any financial education, then all they're going to do is hear that like, oh my God, inflation's crazy and all this stuff's happening, I need to raise. Wow. And even though it might be true that you may need to raise price of your staff, we just did a payroll adjustment for people around here too, and like figured out like what we can do and how does it work, and do an audit on how it works and do all those things. But the question becomes, even if you look at what rate you're paying and if that's about where it needs to be, you need to financially educate your team to make sure that they know more about it. And that's one of the things I'd like to do here too, is just continue to provide more financial education for your team so they can be better with money and do greater things with it. Because honestly, in my life, I've made little amounts of money, and I've made a lot of money. And like what I've done with the money has made the difference, not just the amount of it. Amount helps, but if you're doing the wrong things with the amount of money, if I just give you another $100, you'll still do the same dumb things. Not you, but like whoever. I would still do the same dumb things with that $100 I was doing before. And what most people do is they go out and buy things that are not helpful for them and don't grow them and put them in they get houses and cars and boats and toys and things. And that changed a lot. So top tip on better surviving a recession I could give you based on today's call that I mentioned was financially educate your team, because nobody does that. They don't do it in beauty school. They don't do it in high school or college. Like you're not getting financial literacy anywhere. And the credit card companies are certainly not educating you. They just want you to get more credit card debt. And like, so does Macy's and Nordstrom and everything. Do you want to open a card today, sir? No, I don't. I don't need to do that. And again, those are poor financial decisions that lead people to it. So last tip on surviving a recession is recession is a mindset. I mean, there's a technical definition, which is 2 quarters in a row of the GDP lowering. That's a technical definition of a recession. However, you can choose to participate in the recession or not. The recession is what goes on between your right ear and your left ear. There will be people who still spend money. There are people who still buy things, and you either go after those people and just say, like, I'm not playing that game. Like, you literally have to say, I'm not going to play the, oh my God, the sky is falling sort of game. That moves us forward in a good direction and prevents us from being this kind of like recessionary sort of mindset. I think that just makes a huge difference. So I just want to recap my tips on here and help me remember them all. Is I said, number 1 is choose to not participate, like we just said, in reverse order. Number 2 is financially educate your team. And number 3 is raise your prices. I think I just did it backwards, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Those are probably my biggest tips on a salon functioning as a recession. And on that whole thing on choosing not to participate, get ahead of the discussion with your staff, like see where they're at and talk about it. Don't let them bring up to you like, hey, by the way, everything's hitting the fan. What are we going to do? You don't want to be in the sky's falling mentality. Get ahead of it. Have a good conversation with your team and say, what are you guys experiencing? What do you know? How do we make it better? Hopefully that helps you.
It makes you feel like when the leaders come and bring it up, it makes you feel like, oh, somebody's in control here.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I mean, again, we do a lot of education around here. Like, as you know, we do with our team meetings and things. Like, how do we educate you guys on more things that help make you better people in general? So. And
we have a resource on raising prices. I'll drop that in the comments later.
Boom, look at you. It's like you do this for a living.
Stuff. Like I do this for a living. I do.
It's like she's like, I don't have a resource, but there I am. All right, cool. Well, if that was helpful, do me a favor and say helpful. By the way, I do see some people commenting, and it doesn't tell me who your name is. It says Facebook user. I'm sorry, Facebook screws up the commenting shenanigans for us.
Can you read it? Want me to read it?
No, I can read them. They're very far away, but I can read them. It says, do you have a percentage base that we should raise to make sure we survive it? Ooh, that's a good question. So. Great question. There's not a percentage base. What I like to do, and there's a whole thing that we do inside our High Performance Salon Academy for our paid members inside there. And by the way, this isn't like a plug for you to join our academy, although I think you should. Sorry, it was too easy not to do it. But what I just want to say is we do a whole calculation to say, how do you actually calculate so you can break even? But the general guideline is that you should raise your prices to make sure that you're running at the profit level that you want to be as a business. And that's not like a 2-second answer of 30% is exactly what you need.
Right.
What you want to do is you want to run a calculation of your profit and see how that makes sense. We have a calculator for you inside our paid academy because, look, we spend a lot more time with those people, helping them get where they need to go. But you want to make sure that whatever you raise your prices to is profitable. So if you have a cost of goods increase, then you have to have an increase of your charges for what you do in the salon. And if you don't know how to do that, we have tons of tools. We have our back bar calculator to help you raise prices on your color line and on all those other things. And then your prices always match your profitability.
Yeah.
That's the shortest definition I can give you is there's not an exact percentage. You have to do the calculation. Inside our academy, we have calculators. That's the best quick advice. I'm sorry, that's not that's not the answer that you want. People are like, just tell me the number. It's not really. You have to do some work, and we have a calculator, but it's for our paid members.
We can help you. You don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got you. That's all I'm saying.
We got your back.
The other question, I'm going to get this other one that's on here too. Do you have a suggestion on how to provide that financial education? Ooh, yeah. So, yes, there are some books and tools and resources on there. We're working on developing some tools and resources and actually in salon classes where our team will actually come in and provide some financial education. I think that's pretty legit.
That's sweet.
We're working on some behind the scenes tools that'll be coming out in the next couple months that we'll actually be able to go out and provide some of those resources. But I would start looking at some financial advice books. Like the book that really changed my mind about financial resources was a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It just talks about how the rich think about money versus how the poor think about money. You could do a book study on that, even just by itself. Doing a book study on that book could be really incredible. Another one's called the Cash Flow Quadrant, which is, both these are Robert Kiyosaki books, so they're a little more on financial education. But I also want to say, depending on how you want to educate your team, you might just like pull a Dave Ramsey book up or like find some other resources.
There's so much out there.
If you're asking the question of like, I don't even know where I'd go to find education, that means you need to get educated on that. I'm not saying that's you personally, like I'm not trying to burn you. I'm just saying, like, if you don't know, it means you probably need to get some education too, and then say, where do I want to bring that education? And I say that because Kiyosaki is like over here on financial education, and like Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman are over here on education. So you got to decide what education do you want to train them on, like Millionaire Next Door or 4-Hour Work Week. Like they're polar opposites, and like I'm really clear on the type of financial education I want to promote, that I am a fan of and I want my team to be aware of. So you got to get clear about what financial education you want to do. And there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever selection you choose to have. Another great resource is like you chat with like financial advisors in your area. You might be able to bring in a financial advisor or a 401k advisor or something like that that's in your local town. Maybe you're in a networking group or something like that with those people. Or heaven forbid, you have a client who's a financial advisor who works for a huge company. Have them come down and teach a financial advice class. That could be a cool way to do it too.
I love that love punch.
If
you don't know what education, then you need to be educated yourself.
There you go. I punched myself.
Our love punches are my favorite.
If you have more questions, go ahead and ask. Otherwise, we're going to hit the questions that were submitted earlier in the week.
All right. This is a great one. It's also anonymous, so we don't know who
Anonymous.
asked this. Yes. How
Thank
cute.
you for the question, Anonymous.
Would you recommend having a booking system or allowing your stylist to book with their phones? Dun, 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 dun.
Well, okay. So first and foremost, I just want to say this. That question implies that you're a pretty small salon. And I say, I don't mean to insult you by saying that, like saying small salon versus big salon, because I want to give advice like across the board equally. But like, should I have a booking system versus just have people just book it on their phone? So if you're a small salon and the question is, should I have a booking system? My question is, what are you trying to accomplish? Like if you're a very small salon of 1 or 2, does having a booking system make sense for you? Well, not if you just want to be a salon of 1. If it's just Kayla and I, and I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just use our phones. I can save the $100 a month. If like the $100 a month is going to break you, fine, but just know that that's going to keep you as a small salon. Like it's just Kayla and I running a salon, and it's Kayla and Jason's salon.
Can you imagine the haircuts?
They would say. But our marketing haircuts were like, I don't know, don't take a picture of that before and after. But the idea is that if you want to stay small, then use resources that keep you small.
Yeah.
I know that sounds harsh, but like if you want to be a big salon, like I know a large salon would never ask me that question. Like a salon with like 10 staff would be like, it'd be impossible for us to use our phones. So that's why I'm saying I know you're a small salon asking that question, Anonymous. But the idea is like do something that gets you to the outcome that you're after as a salon. So like for me, what I always looked at as a business owner is that when I was a small business owner and I was doing less than like 10 grand a month, like I was like, well, what does a business that's doing 20 grand a month do, or 50 grand a month, or 100 grand a month, or $1 million a month? Like I was looking at what was the next size up category from what I was doing that I wanted to be more like as the next size business. So if you're asking that question and you're a small salon, do you want to be a bigger salon? Because if you don't, the answer is don't worry about it. Don't shell out that massive amount of $100. But for a salon that has 10 staff, of course, $100 a month is negligible in the grand scheme of growing your salon. So hope that helps. Anonymous.
Anonymous. Interesting. Man, I learned so much.
I like that you appreciate your learning.
I do. I'm like, thanks for your questions, y'all. I'm learning
Yeah,
so
these are
many
good
things.
questions. They're good stuff. Hopefully you're getting value. And again, if you
Yeah.
have more questions, ask away. We'll do what we can do.
All right, so I think we have time for one more.
How often are we doing these, by the way?
Every 2 weeks, roughly. Except for not probably in 2 weeks because we're going to St. Louis.
Yeah, we're going to be in St. Louis. We're behind the scenes here. I'm not turning the camera around because it looks like a you-know-what show. We have tons of gear and boxes and equipment and stuff, and our
Packing
pallets are
up.
getting shipped out. We have right around 400 people that are going to be doing our destination training with us in St. Louis, Missouri. If you've never seen any of our recap videos, you should probably check them out. They're pretty cool.
Our hotel has a Ferris wheel in it.
Shout out to Bob, by the way, for amazing recap videos.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you can see a pallet in the window.
I got you.
See? We're not
Oh,
lying.
our junk is behind us in the windows.
Wait.
You can see some of it.
Don't look at it!
It's all good. But yeah, we're gonna be out in St. Louis doing destination training. The theme is called Discovering You, and it's all about figuring out who you are, what you need to be, and having a better insight of not only yourself but who's on your team, so you can put them in the power positions they need to be in order to help you grow an incredibly successful salon. Helps you make more profit, take more time off, and understand your team and yourself better, and be able to, like, because this recessionary discussion continues to come up, how do you continue to make yourself recession proof? Like who do you need to become to make sure that when you go through this recession you end up on top? Because more millionaires and billionaires will be made during this recession than ever before. And if you've not been through one of these, because I've mentioned this before, sorry to go tangent for a second.
It's all good.
I've been through 4 of these, I've realized. 4 recession, depression scenarios. I know, it's kind of weird. Or like I just say hiccups in the market is really what I should say. .com bomb. I was old enough to go through that. .com bomb, housing crisis. I missed one. 9/11, like that was a weird scenario when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Kayla's like, I was too. And then also COVID. Like, and what I mean by recessionary time is when like everybody like gets really tight with their wallet. Like when the .com bomb happened, everybody was like, I don't know what's going on. And when 9/11 happened, everybody's like, I don't know what's going on. Are we going to war? What's happening? And then same thing through 2008 and whatever. And through each of those times, I doubled and tripled what I was doing because I've been around people who said you need to double down when things like that happen. Double down your marketing, double down your efforts, work twice as hard. Like during lockdown, like for COVID, I was like, now's the chance for me to get ahead. And like you work 10 times harder when everybody else is slowing down, and you get further and further ahead of not of other people. I don't mean this isn't about like getting ahead of others, but just by comparison, you either shrink or you grow, and you grow twice as fast during a recession than any other time. So if you double down during that time, it's even better. So
if you're worried and you're nervous, surround yourself with people who are not and are like using it as an advantage. Like use this next time as an advantage to build your business rather than being scared. And
I literally have like, even in our Salon CEO group, in that group, we were like, all right, everybody's just like waiting for things to happen. It's like think about this. If you were to go to a store and you knew that Nordstrom was going to have a massive sale and everything's going to be 25% off, you like hold your cash while they have regular prices. And when Nordstrom goes on sale, you're like, whee! So, I don't know what just happened.
I don't know what happened.
It's all
That
good.
makes a lot of sense. Interesting.
Yeah. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Oh, something's happening back there. Google Drive can't scan this file for viruses. Anyway, I think that's you, Bob, just to give you some framework. Anyway, we're swapping that stuff out. Anyway. Continue. We'll keep making it happen. What's the next question?
Oh, yeah, okay. Last question. Ready for this?
Producer Bob. I got you. I know you're trying to get some stuff done. I get it. Go ahead.
Anyway.
We're just screwing off over it. It's fine. We're not working.
What are some profit-sharing formulas for top earners?
Yes. Okay. So I've got like 10 trainings on this inside our academy, and again, not to keep talking about the academy, but it is kind of what we do and how we continue to make money as a company and produce this content for you. Sorry.
It's all good.
When you create profit sharing for your top earners, I want to say a couple things. Number 1, don't create profit sharing to get people to work for free.
Whoa.
What most people do is they're like, I want to create a profit sharing program for all my employees, and then they'll work harder because they think they're going to get some of the money, even though they might not get some of the money.
Whoa.
So a lot of times, business owners, salon owners, barbershop owners, spa owners make this mistake. I've worked for free because I'm the owner. I do a lot of extra work for free because I'm the owner. I work Saturdays because I'm the owner. I work evenings and evenings because I'm the owner. And so they go, well, if I had more profit-sharing partners, I'd have a lot more people working for free. Does that make sense? Yep. And so they go, well, what if I shared some of the profits? Well, question number 1 you got to really ask yourself is, are you a profitable salon company or spa first? Like, can we start with that question? Because that's really the better question. It's like, how profitable are you as a salon? If you're like, well, I'm running at like the average salon runs at a 3 to 5% profit margin.
Wow.
What would it do? Like, that's not very exciting.
Yeah.
A successful salon runs at an 8 to 10% profit margin, and an uber successful salon, not Uber the company, but like a great successful salon company, can run up to a 15 to 20% profit margin as a business, which is pretty healthy for salons and spas. We have some salons that are running at like 25% profitability, and it just depends on a lot of factors, like where you are, how you market, what you do, staff. There's a lot of factors. So here's the thing. If you have a healthy profit margin, ask yourself this: am I trying to just get my staff to work for free by offering quote unquote profit sharing? Am I trying to give them a golden handcuff so they don't like leave me and go work somewhere else because they're part of the ownership team now? Like, are you just trying to reward your top performers into staying longer and be like, hey, I'd like you to be here? Because most often you might want to increase salaries and wages or create bonus structures before you start saying, let's create a profit sharing program. So I just want to like kind of put the bad stuff on the table first that people do is like, what's the real intention behind the question? Because that can screw you up.
Yeah.
But then second to that, I'm a big fan of profit sharing programs. I love profit sharing programs because like I get paid on profit of the company. Like I like getting paid that way. But I want to remind you that that's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So the first question I've asked, because I've had people on my team ask me before, not you, Caleb, but I've had other people ask,
Good to know.
say like, hey, I just mean like people said like, I want to share the profits. And I'm like, cool. So do you want to share the profits? And then like also, because you've probably never heard this before, but like if you want to share the profits, does that mean when we have a bad quarter, you want to put money into the company?
Yikes.
Or do you want do you want to like, okay, you want to share the profits, so hand me $50,000 and you'll buy your piece of the company so then you can participate in profits.
Dang.
Do you want to do that?
No.
And you're like, well, yeah, no, I want the profit, but I don't want the risk. See, profit is what's called it's the reward for the business owner for taking risk. That's what the profit is, okay? So like when I started this company, I shelled out $150,000 of money to start the company way back in the day. Like 150 grand of my money, put it in, hopefully it doesn't vaporize. Okay, this company did really well. I had another company I put $200,000 worth of money into, and guess what? I lost it all. How fun was that? Not very fun. Okay?
No profit.
Right, no profit. We didn't make any money, and I had to close the company down. So I just lost $200,000. Probably don't want to do that. That risk tolerance, that risk level is what you need to find out if the people you're trying to profit share with, if they want to participate in that risk with you. Because if COVID happens and you have to put money into the company, or another COVID-2 or a recession happens, you're like, oh crap, we don't make any money.
Not making
Well, that's a problem. And I've done that before too. We created a profit sharing program, and then we had some down quarters. People were like, I hate this profit sharing program. I don't make any money. Why the hell did we have down quarters? And our gross revenue was up, but our margins were down. And like, what I realized is that people were not prepared to have that level of risk involved. And so not everybody's ready to be an entrepreneur with a business owner, take the risk and be able to do it.
Yeah.
Now I will answer the question that was actually
that's good.
asked. I know,
Okay.
you're like, thanks, Jason, for focusing.
But it's
What
good
profit sharing formulas do you have for top earners? What I would do is I would recommend that you get a proper business valuation done of your company.
Okay.
So they're going to tell you, like, based on how much money you make gross and how much money you make net, this is about what your company's worth. And then what I would say from a formula standpoint is if people want to share in the profit, they should buy into your company. They need to give you money for a percentage of the company that then gives them a level of profit. It's a big difference. Most of you guys are probably asking about bonus structures, not profit formulas.
Yeah.
So set up a bonus structures based on profit, that's fine. But as soon as you make them owners, and by the way, there's one other mistake I'll tell you. I have all the mistakes.
But you've learned a lot.
I have learned a lot through doing this.
Gives you credibility.
People think when they become a shareholder, they can tell the owner what to do now.
Ooh.
And this happens all the time. I've heard this with another stylist that I know. She said, I bought into the company. I finally have a say at the table. I'm like, well, not really. If you bought in and you're a 1% shareholder in the company, you don't have a say. Like, unless you're like a 40 or like 30, 40, 50% shareholder in the company, that owner gets to do whatever the hell they want to do with the money, with the finance, with the whatever, and you're just along for the ride.
You get to buy the pins.
Yeah. It's like, and again, you maybe have more work to do now, and you might get a share of the money. You might have an opinion and a seat at the table, but most likely you'll be a minority partner. So I would say work on bonus structure, work on compensation programs, and if you really want to create shareholders in our program, we have a whole training on who to look for, how to find them, how to create the structure. And it's not an easy answer. So anyway, I've given you the pitfalls and hopefully some really solid advice on how to fix that problem and get the right things. And maybe you're looking for a bonus structure more than a profit sharing structure, and that'll be hugely valuable. Who asked that, by the way?
Natasha.
Natasha. Thanks for the
That's right.
question, Natasha.
Yeah,
I appreciate
Natasha.
you asking.
Wow. Wow, well, that was really good. I learned so much.
We have some more time. We got time for one more. How are we doing? We could probably do one more.
You want to do one more?
I think we have time for one more.
All right, let's do one more. Diane asked a question.
You got one more?
I have two more, actually. So one's going to have to wait till next
We'll
week.
see.
We have to
Diane.
decide. Okay. I was
Sorry. Oh, there was 2 questions? Let's go with Diane. It's just on top.
All right, Diane. Your question is, should you give return commission on...
Go ahead.
Oh, should you give return commission on retail whose stylist guests come in weeks or months later after their service to buy retail?
Should you give return commissions on retail? Yeah. So the question is, what's the policy of your team, business, etc., on kind of how all that stuff works? So in general, the question is like, well, so somebody bought retail. Like let's say I'm the stylist. Well, you're the stylist.
Okay.
You'll be the stylist. I'll be the owner.
Okay.
And Bob comes in to buy product from you. You as a stylist recommend a product, and then Bob comes back in a month or 2 later and wants to buy some product. Well, should you still get commission on the sale that Bob made? Well, the question is are you a regular guest of Bob?
Ooh.
Like, are you a general regular guest of Bob, or do you just randomly show up out of nowhere and like buy that retail product?
One time.
I think in most cases, that should be credited to the stylist. Like, why would you want to take that away from them?
Yeah, why would you take that away?
Well, again, I mean, it's probably an innocent question, but I think the idea of like, why would you want to take that away is this whole framework of like, well, they didn't actually do any work to make that second sale. They worked on the first one, but now they've just come in. Now they're a client of the salon, and like, I don't have to pay that commission. So I think it kind of comes from the idea of scarcity, of like, why don't, they didn't do the work, so I don't want to pay them, versus how great would it be if you were like, hey, by the way, while you were gone, since you made that recommendation before, your guest came in and bought some more product, here's an extra commission for you.
Feel really good.
Like, doesn't that feel good as an employee to be like, yeah, I told that guest about that product, they continue to buy it from me, so therefore I continue to get credit. Now, if like they've moved on to another stylist, or they like don't come into the salon anymore, they don't want to see that stylist anymore, but they still come in to buy a retail product, I don't know, you got to make the call. But I would just say in general that giving commission's not going to hurt you. And again, I think it's a scarcity mindset to not pay the commission on it. But I also would say it depends on your agreement too. So last thing I will say on that subject is that if your agreement is to pay them for the first year on retail product or something, and then it goes to the salon, great. Just make sure that's the agreement in advance with a stylist. I think the problem is you're asking a question because there's not an expectation set, and then you got to figure it out. So.
Yeah. And if they don't work there anymore, you can just call them up and be like, hey, I got $3 for you because you got commission on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's great joke. But like the idea is the same thing. Is like you obviously wouldn't continue to pay them for that on on a stylist who isn't there anymore and things like that. But in general, I would side with giving it to the stylist. Again, maybe that's my opinion. If you guys have your other opinion, you guys comment and say if you think you should pay for it.
At the end of the day.
Cool. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful. I know this is a new setting for us. Maybe we'll do more here. This was a cool setup.
Come back in a couple weeks to see what their new pictures.
See what might pop up on the screen randomly. That was its own level of fun. You never know what could pop up behind me. It could be a pink elephant or
literally, he said an elephant. Molly said an elephant earlier. That's funny that you said that. No, but that you suggested it.
Try not to think of a pink elephant. See what happens.
Sure.
Did it work?
No.
All right. The power of NLP. Anyway.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for hanging out. We'll do some more questions. If you have more questions and you typed them in after the fact, we'll answer them the next time we do this. And we have a couple more people who ask questions that we'll get to next time. And if you want more information on coming to our destination training in St. Louis, we still have a few more seats available.
We do.
If you guys want to come, we've been packing this place out, but we did get a huge venue. So we have a few more spaces. There is a Ferris wheel. There's a Ferris wheel, an arch, and there may be a formal party involved, and there may be an award show, and there may be fancy dresses. So if that's your jam, you should come and hang out with us. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Ask Me Anything.
Stay sexy, Sacramento.
And that's the way the hair curls. Thank you guys. Have a good day. Bye for now.